A special welcome to everyone joining our event this evening on YouTube Live. This is the first time that Willoughby City Council has live streamed an exhibition opening, and we're thrilled that everyone can still join us despite the current circumstances. Retracing is part of Willoughby City Council's Emerge Festival, which is on now until the 11th of October, with a collection of colourful and creative COVID-safe community events to celebrate the emergence of spring. This year's festival features a series of smaller events including art exhibitions, workshops, food and drink, outdoor activities, digital events and plenty for kids to do. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Mayor, Councillor Gail Giles-Gidney, to say a few words about this wonderful exhibition. Welcome, Mayor Gail.
Thank you, Mel. What a very exciting evening it is for us today as part of our Emerge Festival, this wonderful Retracing exhibition, which has such a close connection to the Willoughby community. We've got artists that have either living or been grown up here or have lived here or run businesses, and we are very, very pleased that we're able to host this exhibition, and what a high standard it is, Mel. It's absolutely beautiful. Fantastic. I've had a bit of a look around, and thank you very much for the insights for the artists, and they've all got a fantastic story about their close connection to the Willoughby community. And of course we have been in very difficult times with COVID, but it's been absolutely fantastic to see the way that Willoughby City Council has embraced the challenge and adapted. And this adaptation, of course, is the virtual art opening that we have this evening. I don't know, we could claim a world first. I don't know,
we'll go for it.
Yeah,
we'll try. We'll try.
Yeah, but it's wonderful that even though the Emerge Festival has morphed into a lot of virtual things and very small openings and relatively small functions, we've still got a festival happening in our city of Willoughby, and it's really important for people to know that, you know, in spite of COVID, there's a big brave world out there. Life will go on, and importantly, art will go on. And I think it's a showcasing of fantastic talent here this evening. It's going to be warmly embraced by our community. It's going to give them something to do. People are so excited to get out of their houses and
bring joy back into their lives.
Yes, absolutely, and a fantastic way to engage with our community on many different levels. Of course, we've got this exhibition here and the satellite exhibition in the foyer. I've had a look at that on the way here. Absolutely fabulous. And we have the incinerator art space as well.
It's a lot on.
It's a lot on. So we're very, very pleased and grateful to all our wonderful artists, our renowned artists. I should say a bit of a Castle Crag connection with a lot of them. I'm a Castle Crag local, so I've got a bit of a kindred spirit there, but I do thank our artists and also our community, because I know they're going to warmly embrace this and support it. So thanks for being part of our Emerge Spring Festival. It's very much appreciated, and it is now my honour and privilege to declare this exhibition officially open. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gail. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Gail. Okay, it's now my pleasure to introduce you to some of the artists here this evening and talk with them about their artworks and just find out a little bit more about their artworks. So first and foremost, we're going to walk over to Stefania Riccardi's artwork named Invented Space, which is a stunning large-scale sculpture. It's made of steel and mirrored perspex, and it looks like an open book with an architectural impression emerging from the centre. Stefania, can you talk us through what this work is representing?
Thanks, Mel. This work talks about the experience of the COVID lockdown. It looks at the way that our daily life was disrupted, and the space we inhabited was disrupted, as well as the time. The passing of time took a different dimension. And so in this work I tried to create simultaneously the space that we had to invent within our own domestic walls, which sometimes surprise ourselves too, because it reaches some level of infinity, whether it was good or bad, I don't know. And then at the same time, it offers you another view, which is the fragility of that construct, of what are we going to do with our lives, how are we going to make sense of our daily lives. And And this was also reflected partially in the video, where the video was taken at dawn. It's that time of the day where, if you're not familiar with the territory, you know that the light is coming, you know that the day will start, but you don't know where the sun will come from. And so there is that moment of uncertainty within a desire for relief. And the music for that piece was done by Wade Gilmer, a very young musician who worked into the piece that sense of time shifting, accelerating and decelerating. So that's the work.
Thank you, Stefania. The reflection of the art space and other works in the exhibition make the work so interesting, along with the reflection of the central architectural impression. Is this building referencing a building in the local area, and can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Yes, it does. Actually, the architecture impression is a direct reference to the Artarmon Public Library, to the facade, the Gothic facade. The library itself is a place where we go and where we stretch the boundaries of time and space once again by reading books and traveling with authors, which also brings another reference, not just to the pages of the book, but also another reference to a novel, a very short story by Louis Borges, a South American writer, who talks about a library that is made of infinite space. And again, that is reflected in the mirrors of the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefania. Okay, so moving on, we're heading back over to Reed Butler's installation, Paper Fall, Chatswood to Scott's Creek. Reed, this is a large work made of A4 sheets of paper that look like environmental reporting documents. The work seems very conceptual. What do you want to communicate with this artwork?
That's right, Mel. It is A4 papers printed out. It's the Willoughby Local Environment Plan. So it's basically the Bible. It's the template that tells people what they can and can't do with all the spaces and every piece of land in Willoughby. So it's quite a powerful document, but it's often stuck on a shelf or in the filing cabinet. And there's a lot of information in there that doesn't get realised. And I contribute to plans like this as an environmental scientist. I write parts of it, and I've written hundreds of reports on these A4 sheets, spewing out like waterfall from my prolific fingers. And so it's a way of showing that these things need to be looked at in maybe a different way. It's become a waterfall made of paper rather than a document as such.
Beautiful. The exhibition's also part of the Sydney Craft Week. What's the craft element of this conceptual work?
Well, there are a few layers there. So as well as me crafting the words in these reports as part of my day job, that I take these pages and sew them together to hang them like this. And in the video I've done, I've strung them as banners across Scott's Creek, which actually starts from this very point. So this document's coming as the source, the waterfall, and then underneath us in actual pipes is where the creek is beginning. So my video shows a drone sort of taking you from Chatswood and flying down into the mangroves to see a similar report hanging across the creek down there, just to make that connection.
Beautiful. Thank you, Reed. Okay, so now we're going to move over to see Sarah Fitzgerald's artwork called Okie Dokie. Sarah, I understand that this work is representing the word okay. The work almost seems like a set of domestic shelves, like modular furniture that you'd put together. Why have you explored this word through the medium of sculpture?
Well, I was interested in the ambiguity of the word, in the way you can say it, and it can take on many different meanings. It's an affirmative word, so it means yes, but you can say it in a way that can mean maybe not at the same time. And also, I really liked the way it was an internationally understood word, and when I started to think about this, I kept seeing it coming up in movie subtitles of foreign films. So that was the thing that really made me interested in it. And also when I looked at distilling the form of the letters, it became very abstract, just two letters that can mean so much and that can communicate so easily across cultural language barriers. And so these are small drawings that go as part of the, it's just a repetition of the word, and when you say it repeatedly and insistently, or if you say it loudly and just once, it can mean something completely different. So the shelf unit, this one here, is also where the ambiguity between art and craft and architecture and interior design and design in the way that you think about text. So it's really a text-based work where I had the same idea repeated in different drawings, paintings, and the video painting, and also the sculptural relief work.
Beautiful, thank you. I've also heard that the work was actually installed in a gallery in Paris prior to COVID-19. Do you think the work's changed its significance since the pandemic?
Well, I think it has, actually, and it was interesting. It was this year that I was lucky enough to have this show in Paris, and that was at first the interest of the international way that this word is understood, and being an artist in a foreign country and trying to communicate with a foreign audience through language. But then I was actually there in March, so I left the very weekend that Paris went into lockdown. So it took on a whole new meaning, because it, in one sense, is about crossing boundaries and borders with language and what we have in common and how we can speak to each other. And at the very same time that the show was on, the borders were all being closed and people were leaving, and there was sort of boundaries being drawn around, which is, I was interested in this sort of rise of nationalism in the world prior to COVID, and it's even more interesting now in a way, although there's still this commonality that the word also suggests, where we are going through the same thing, and so while borders are being shut, there's also a lot of cross-cultural understanding. And it also links to this show being part of a Willoughby Council Emerge Festival, because this on a micro level is such a international cross-cultural community at Willoughby. We have so many different languages spoken and so many different people from all sorts of parts of the world. You walk outside the Concourse and there's food from any country in the world, which is a fantastic thing about Willoughby. So I sort of thought, coming back from Paris, it actually made just as much sense in a different context in Willoughby. So,
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so we're going to finish up talking to Pamela Leong about her two works, Safety Blanket and Blessing. Hi, Pamela. So, Pamela, you've got two works to show us that are related. One's a large work on the wall that reflects its title, Safety Blanket. It looks the exact size of a blanket, but it's made of paper. It sort of reminds me of a patchwork quilt, with each patch being embossed with what looks like the lucky symbol. Can you talk us through this artwork and how you came about making it?
Right, okay. I've been thinking, working with a new project using recycled paper, and so this exhibition gave me an opportunity to start with this project. And the paper I made is use my yesterday paper. My yesterday everyday lives paper. Like when I'm traveling, I pick up and collect the catalog in gallery or whatever. And also, I help my son's cafe doing his bookwork, and the paper who mark the everyday's tickings, and I keep it. And those paper to me is not just about money. It's about how everyday's life with the community, the ritual habit to go to the cafe to have their coffee, and also the hard-working staff, So that is the record for them as well. So I'm thinking the process of the making paper is very good, reflecting the condition we've been going through since 2019, like the bushfire, the flood, and now pandemic, and a lot of houses, we lost houses, life, and all that. So we went through a lot of traumas, and our everyday life been and so like the paper, the process of the paper, how if you can see the video here, how I do it, like I sit there piece by piece, tearing them and then blend them, but it's just like our life, being broken. But then, in a way, we reconstruct them to something beautiful. So we are hope, after all this rough time, we still be able to, have something nice to come out.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Pam. So you've given us a bit of an insight into the meaning behind the work and the motifs that you've used in regards to the lucky symbol. Do you want to talk just a little bit more about the lucky symbol?
I choose to use this international motifs, means lucky, 4 leaves clover. In a way, the 4 leaves clover mean, 1 leaf mean faith, and 1 mean hope, 1 mean love, and 1 mean luck. So that's why I decided to use this symbol, so everyone will understand, this is mean lucky. And also, I'm going to be a grandma in January, and so I've been thinking about baby things, and then this come across to me, this security blanket, the safety blanket for the baby. And it seems to me we all want something to hold on to give our security. So I think, in that case, it come to this idea of making a blanket, but we're adults, so we need a single side, a bigger blanket. And also for doing this blanket, I'm sewing them through. And I think this is a very meditative healing process as well. I've been thinking, every stitches I do, I've been thinking about all those people who've been hurt and going through all those dramas as well.
Thank you, Pamela. That was beautiful. And to follow on from what you said, it certainly has been a challenging time. The work that accompanies the safety blanket's called the blessing. It looks like a stack of paper patches that you've used to make the other work, but this time the lucky symbol is printed on each patch in green. The patches are on a stack. Can you talk with us about how the audience will interact with those?
Yeah, I quite often like to give and share with my my audience, and this one is the same symbol with the 4 leaves clover, but I printed it in green, which sort of like to me is more like a new life, a happy, hopeful colour, and to give them away to the visitor and sharing with them. But I only done 88 print editions. Coincidentally, these blankets, to make up this size, is come to 88 pieces. And 88 for where I grew up, Hong Kong, and always know number 8 is a lucky number. And so 88 is double lucky. So I decided I only make 88 to make sure they are lucky symbol to give it away to the visitor who would like to, to share this blessing with me. And this is how I come to this work, to sincerely sharing, the best wishes to the community.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the artists in the exhibition, and such amazing work and such heartfelt stories from each and every one of you about the work. I'd just like to thank every one of you for joining us this evening in a very different exhibition opening. As I said earlier, it's a first, and as Gail and I will probably keep chanting, possibly the first of many. And I'd like to thank you again, Mayor Gale, and all the artists for the fabulous insights into their work. Tonight's event has been recorded, so if you'd like to watch it again, it will be available on the exhibition webpage, where you can also view the virtual tour and digital exhibition. But I'd also like to reiterate that nothing beats coming and seeing these exhibitions in person. So please, if you have the opportunity to come and drop by and have a look and talk to the artists. It is really an incredible exhibition, and very heartfelt from all of the exhibitors that are here. Thank you. Camera.